President Sirisena meets with the German Chancellor. Germany to support Sri Lanka's development drive.
Protest in Thotalanga called off. Survey to be conducted to identify those who require houses.
Former president in court to request bail for son Yoshita Rajapaksa.
Sketches of the suspects connected to the assassination of Lasantha Wickrematunge made public.
Hello and welcome. This is Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Good evening. I am Shaheen Jurampati.
And I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Now, before we take a look at our top story tonight, just a reminder to our viewers that you can follow us on our Twitter handle at Newsfirst_EN and join the conversation by using the hashtags featured on each of our stories tonight.
The official ceremony to welcome President Maithripala Sirisena to Germany was held in Berlin today.
A military guard of honor was accorded to the President at the premises of the office of the German Chancellor. Subsequently, President Maithripala Sirisena held bilateral discussions with the German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Incidentally, this is the first time in 15 years that a Sri Lankan head of state is visiting Germany in an official capacity. Following the discussion, both heads of states attended a joint media briefing. At the briefing, German Chancellor Angela Merkel had said that Germany would completely support Sri Lanka's development drive. She had added that Germany would support the skills development, technology and health sectors in Sri Lanka. The German Chancellor stated that aid will be provided in order to prevent chronic kidney disease in Sri Lanka. She noted that a team of experts will be sent to the island to look into the matter and steps will be taken to increase access to clean drinking water. The President has extended an invitation to the Chancellor to arrive in Sri Lanka on a visit to which she agreed to. His Excellency also requested that the GSP Plus concession be granted to the country once again, to which the Chancellor agreed to. Subsequent to these bilateral talks, a media briefing was convened. Journalists raised questions at the media briefing. The Chancellor, in response to a journalist's question, stated that she would take time off and would accept the President's invitation. It was also noted that the German government would aid Sri Lanka in its reconciliation process. The Chancellor went on to note that she is happy with the rule of the incumbent government subsequent to the war. Later today, the President will meet the German President at the Presidential Secretariat. Several talks are scheduled to take place later this evening.
Now on to a headline-making story this evening. The government has decided to conduct a survey in order to ascertain as to whether persons who were evicted from their houses in Kajimawatha, Thotalanga should be given new houses.
Now, the persons who faced this issue said that this decision was made during a meeting with Minister Partli Champika Ranawaka this afternoon.
Yesterday, the Urban Development Authority took measures to demolish several houses in Kajimawatha, Thotalanga. Persons who were evicted commenced a demonstration last evening against the demolition by obstructing the Thotalanga bridge on the Colombo-Negombo road. The demonstration caused a severe traffic congestion on the Colombo-Negombo road, the Colombo-Kandy road and many other surrounding roads. This is the manner in which these demonstrators remained on the Sri Lanka-Japan Friendship Bridge from last evening until dawn today. Another group, including children, took shelter at the location where their houses once stood.
මේකයි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මෙතන තියෙන මිනිස්සුත් ඉන්නවා නැති මිනිස්සුත් ඉන්නවා. දෙගොල්ලන්ට මේකම ඇන්දෙන් තමයි හාන්ඩුවෙන් බෙදන්නේ.
ගෙවල් ඔක්කොම කල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. කඩන්න මොකුත් නැහැ. කුකුල් කූඩු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ඔක්කොම ගෙවල්.
ඉතලා මගේ දරුවෝ මම පේමන්ට් වලත් බුදියගෙන මගේ දරුවෙකුත් නැති වුණා.
School students and office workers faced a severe discomfort due to the demonstrators preventing vehicles from moving on the road this morning.
අපි අටට වැඩට හිටින්න ඕනේ දැන් 7යි වෙලා.
කඩන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඒගොල්ලන්ට හරියට දෙයක් දීලා ඉවරලා කැඩුවා නම්.
ඉස්කෝල ළමයි ඉස්කෝලේ යන්නේ නැහැ. කොච්චර රැකියාව කරු මිනිස්සු රැකියාවට යන්නේ නැහැ.
දැන් පැයක් විතරනේ මෙතන ඔය උතනින් නම් බෑලි ඕඩිනවා.
Persons who were evicted were seen at the site of their demolished houses this morning. At around 9 o'clock this morning, the Colombo-Negombo road was reopened for traffic following the intervention of SSP Ajit Rohana, who is in charge of the Colombo North area.
The conduct of the police at previous demonstrations was criticized by the majority of the country, and we will follow this process in the future as well. If the majority of the country refuses to accept such procedures, we as the police would not follow them. If we had followed a different course of action, a far more unfortunate incident would have taken place, one that is worse than the traffic congestion. The police would be made to take responsibility, and legal action would have to be taken against the officers who resorted to use force.
A group of demonstrators was summoned to the Grand Pass police station to discuss the issue. Minister of Mega Police and Western Development Partly Champika Ranawaka convened a media briefing today to make clarifications on the matter.
Apart from the 35 persons who were given temporary housing, everyone else was given houses. Certain persons who made statements to the media were given 2 houses under special circumstances. For those who were living on rent in these houses, we held a special program on the 19th of December, and we informed them that by the 31st of December, we will give them a time period to engage in the task in a just manner. Unfortunately, on Saturdays and Sundays, state lands were being seized and marshy lands were being filled to build houses. We needed to take a stand on this. Last Saturday, a large group at once stepped out to the streets and attempted to claim these lands. We needed to take immediate action. None were treated in an unjust manner. Some had given their houses on rent and had gone to live elsewhere. We informed them that their houses will be seized by the government if they do not come and settle in the provided houses by the 31st of January. All these persons are not persons without houses, and I state such ruffian acts will not achieve anything.
Following the media briefing, the evicted persons held a meeting with Minister Partly Champika Ranawaka.
If a person has been given a house, that person needs to live in that house, not claim lands elsewhere while living in that house. We are investigating that matter now. We have commenced a survey this evening into that matter.
Demonstrators, anticipating the results of the discussions, once again obstructed the Colombo-Negombo road by coming onto the Sri Lanka-Japan Friendship Bridge at around 2 this afternoon. However, following the arrival of the persons who engaged in the discussions, the demonstrators moved away.
I'm here at Kajumavatta in Totalanga, where yesterday the Urban Development Authority evicted the people living in the area. Following this eviction, the area residents staged a demonstration in the Colombo-Negombo road, causing heavy traffic. Following the arrival of police officers, the protesters decided to temporarily conclude their demonstration. Meanwhile, Minister Partly Champika Ranawaka allowed a discussion to be held with a few members of the demonstration. A new group of officials from the UDA and the police is to conduct a house-to-house survey and conduct a background check into matters like how long we were living here and where we came from. We hope to receive a solution to this issue by tomorrow.
Court has decided to consider the bail application of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's son Yoshitha Rajapaksa and 4 others at the next hearing of the case on the 29th of February.
The bail applications of the suspects were taken up for consideration today at the Colombo High Court.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa appeared in court as an attorney where the bail application for his son was taken up for consideration today. High Court also issued notices on persons including the officers of the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division who have been named as respondents with regard to the bail application.
The following views were expressed at a media briefing convened by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
Some things are done emotionally. When emotions come forward, the matter can steer to another direction.
Let me speak, Peshala. Write this down. One cannot reach any deals by threatening us that parties will be formed. That is the stance of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
State Minister of National Integration and Reconciliation A.H.M. Fauzi, speaking to the media today, criticised the actions of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
What the people need now is for the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, President Maithripala Sirisena, to strengthen the party and win the future elections and defeat the United National Party. However, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa wants the United National Party to win. That is why he speaks of a new party. None will join the new party. Why? Maithripala Sirisena is the president for the next 5 years. We will be compelled to expel all those who leave without even considering their positions. They will lose their parliamentary seats. We are compassionate towards Mahinda Rajapaksa, but we will not harm ourselves.
Where did Mahinda Rajapaksa go wrong? H.M. Fauzi expressed his views on this question.
His political career came to an end with the 18th Amendment to the Constitution. He brought forward the amendment in order to remain as president as long as he lives. After that was done, I thought to myself that there was no point working in the party. I was appointed as senior minister. I was in the party for 45 years. I was protecting the party even by losing my rights. There were 10 senior ministers and all of them were fed up. We knew that Mahinda Rajapaksa would lose. We understood that he will not receive the 1.4 million votes of the minorities. D.E.W. Gunasekara and Tissa Vitarana made the calculations.
Lakshman Yapa Abewardena, the State Minister of Finance, speaking at the media briefing, commented on the local government elections.
Minister Faiza Mustafa has worked hard to complete the demarcation process for the local government elections. However, the government has not been able to complete the process for any single district. The government has spent a lot of money and energy on this matter, and even the president has the need to hold the elections soon. When considering the complaints that have been made, only 6 districts have been considered. Gampaha district saw a 99% completion of the process. Therefore, as mentioned before, the elections cannot be held even at the end of the year. The elections will have to be held next year.
Speaking further at the media briefing held at the Sri Lanka Freedom Party headquarters today, Minister of Special Assignments Dr. Sarath Amanugama expressed the following views.
They are speaking about our soldiers. But has anything happened to our soldiers? However, they made General Sarath Fonseca wear the jumper suit. After coming into Parliament, his seat was taken away. He was stripped of all of his ranks for no reason. In the end, he was not given a pension. We are changing that now. So he himself will respond to these. How? He will expose how the soldiers were treated and who gave the money to purchase the weapons for the soldiers to shoot. There is nothing more to talk about, is there? Who gave money to the LTTE to gain votes? What weapons were brought with that money? All these things will be exposed in the future. I won't say any more. When the debate on soldiers begin, a lot will be exposed.
Now here are some of the views expressed on the country's economy.
In 2009, we obtained a loan of $2.6 billion, but now that money has been spent. So now we are in talks to obtain another loan of $1 billion within the next month through a standby arrangement which will help us stabilize the rupee and help with our other transactions. We have made a request. Come this March, we will be discussing on the standby arrangement. They are keeping the dollar at 146 rupees by selling dollars on a daily basis to pump more money. Foreign reserves have depleted, which has led the International Monetary Fund to come out and say that Sri Lanka is facing a severe economic crisis and that for us to save ourselves from this, we have to obtain a loan by accepting a package they have. If not, we will not be able to resolve this balance of payment. The Prime Minister admitted that there is an issue as such and that they are in talks with the International Monetary Fund and that Parliament would be informed about it by March. So by the time they do tell us about it in March, more issues would have accumulated because $1.2 billion placed in treasury bills has been taken out by foreigners.
Have we forgotten?
Allegations were made that many fraud and corrupt activities had taken place in the education sector during the previous government. 66 billion rupees spent on the construction of Mahindodaya laboratories without calling for tenders. An additional 4.248 billion rupees, more than the allocated sum, paid to initiate computer programs. Fraud in a number of projects launched under the Asian Development Bank.
The Mahindodaya technological labs were constructed without calling for tenders. Cabinet approval was obtained for this. This process without calling for tenders was done solely to extort public funds. I called for a report which details on how many Mahindodaya technological labs were built and how many were not opened. The report for the North Central province says that 75 of them are to be opened. A complaint was made to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption over the fraud and corruption that took place during the time when Bandula Gunawardena was the Minister of Education and by using the powers of the Rajapaksas. Complaints were made to the Anti-Corruption Secretariat and the Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division. Our complaint notes that when computers and accessories were purchased for the Mahindodaya technological labs, a fraud of more than 5,875 billion rupees had taken place. However, we cannot see any acceptable form of action that has been taken on this matter. The people of the country gave a mandate against fraud and corruption by defeating the Rajapaksa government. The decision being disgraced must be condemned.
Have we forgotten?
Locals from Kolonnava demonstrated opposite the Western Province Education Ministry today, citing that many issues have arisen with the transfers of teachers from schools in Kolonnava.
The demonstrators charged that at a time when there are 77 vacant teaching positions in Kolonnava, 10 more teachers have been transferred to other educational zones. They demonstrated by obstructing the main gate of the Western Province Ministry of Education. UMP MP SM Marika also took part in the demonstration. There are no replacements made for the 11 transfers. In order to destroy the education and the future of the children of Kolonnava, they have destabilized the education in Kolonnava. There is a force that is attempting to put Kolonnava down. They must recall how they were in hiding before. We did not engage in politics with the fear of pistols and bomb attacks. There is no single teacher. We continue to inform the zonal office. Shouldn't our children be educated?
Why are they making false statements? For 21 years, this was the situation. We thought with the change of the government, this situation would change, but this has not happened.
Chairman of the Kotikawata Mullereva Pradesh Sabha, Prasanna Solangarachi, then arrived at the location. Do not engage in a media facade when there are attempts to provide teachers.
The sketches of two persons suspected to be connected to the assassination of senior journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge were released to the media today.
Police headquarters notes that the sketches were drawn based on the witness statements recorded over the investigations on the assassination of senior journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge.
Sketch number 1, released by the police, is of an individual of around 35 years with a height of 5 feet 8 inches and a fair complexion with brown eyes. Sketch number 2, released by the police, is of an individual aged around 40 years with a height of 5 feet 10 inches with a dark complexion. The sketches of these persons released by the police are available on our website www.newsfirst.lk. Police request the public to contact the police on the following phone numbers with any accurate information on these two persons. The numbers are 0718 591 753, 0718 591 770 and 0773 291 500.
The National Media Forum convened a media briefing this morning.
Former Chief Justice Sarathen Silva said that the Sirasa Media Network was funded by the LTTE. Anyone who creates stories in politics does not have a stable political opinion. One day he says Mahinda Rajapaksa is good, and the next day he says he is bad. He is being petted. Now the one who is being petted by Mahinda Rajapaksa is now saying again that the Sirasa Media Network is funded by the LTTE. He should be arrested and then questioned as to whether or not the Sirasa Media Network is being funded by the LTTE. If they are funded by them, then they should arrest him first for hiding this information for so long, and if not, then the Sirasa Media Network should file charges against him for making such accusations.
Western Province Director of Education Vimal Gunaratne and Western Provincial Councillor Susil Kindalpitia spoke to the media today on allegations which are being raised on the transfer of teachers in the province.
Today at this moment of time, I admit that there are several vacancies for teachers. However, the department is taking measures to fill these vacancies. Some measures have already been taken. It is natural for there to be a teacher vacancy because of teachers going into retirement. This is not a matter which should be resolved by staging rallies or protest. This is something normal.
We are surprised about that fact that there is a special attention being focused only about the shortage of teachers in Kolonnava. It is quite the joke how parliamentarians, instead of focusing their attention on these national schools and the scarcity of teachers in them, how they come forward with people who are not even parents and show their opposition to this issue just to gain popularity in the province they represent. The necessary measures required to this issue have been taken, so do not put this government in difficulty by creating unnecessary problems.
Former Assistant Superintendent of Police for Ambilipitia D.W.C. Dharmaratna, who was arrested over the death of a youth in Ambilipitia, was remanded until the 2nd of March on the orders of the Ambilipitia Additional Magistrate Prasanna Fernando.
Footage from CCTV cameras in the area were presented to the Additional Magistrate by the Criminal Investigations Department. The submission of the post-mortem report was postponed to Friday and it will be taken up on the 2nd of March.
7 of the 6 bail applications on behalf of suspect Chaminda Dharmaratna were presented today to the Ambilipitia Magistrates Court. Notices were also issued and the case will be taken up once again on the 2nd of March. The Justice issued notices on the Criminal Investigations Department, the Attorney General, the SIU of Ratnapura, the Ambilipitia Crimes OIC, who are named as the respondents.
The Unity Through Power Devolution movement convened a media briefing today.
Dinesh
Gunawardena organised a memorial event for Vijay Kumar Tunga. His relatives organised the memorial in the new town hall. When we take a look at that, we can see that Vijay Kumar Tunga's party colour was purple. Mahinda Rajapaksa has now taken over and he is now creating a story in line with that. If anyone was ever working against Vijay, it was Mahinda working against him through the SLFP. He did not even attend his funeral, but now he says if Vijay was here, he would have been with us through all the struggles. Vijay was not a thief.
And that is a wrap of Primetime News. It was an absolute pleasure having you with us. For the News First team, I am Shahin Jurangpati.
And I'm Jyoti Gunasena. Good night and take care.